It's my pleasure today to be with two colleagues from Association Management Center to talk about a topic that's really important and I think very interesting, which is how do we engage and use our association member communities in ways that extend beyond sort of the traditional approach. My name is Steve Smith, and I am the CEO of Association Management Center. And I have a couple colleagues here today who are going to introduce themselves, and then we're going to have a conversation about member communities. So Emily, did you want to go first?
Sounds great. I'm Emily Muse. I am the Senior Director of Marketing and Membership for the American Academy of Hospice and Palliative Medicine. And I have been with the Academy for more than 10 years, and in several roles that include working with our member communities, as well as cultivating member leadership.
Great, thanks, Emily. Judith, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Judith Greifer, and I'm the Senior Marketing and Membership Manager with the American Society of Pediatric Hematology and Oncology. And my role has been to kind of foster engagement within the membership. We focus on DEI and a lot of different types of activities that kind of support the members' interest in the field and in the community.
Fantastic. Well, communities aren't a new concept in most associations, although I am surprised often at how under-resourced they can be or how traditional they might be. So I know some associations will have a couple of special interest groups, for example, or similar kinds of gatherings of people on an annual basis. But I'm interested in hearing from both of you what you think the value of forming communities really is in today's association. And if you have an example of how that has helped increase the value of the association for the membership.
The American Academy of Hospice and Palliative Medicine has a little more than 5,500 members today, and more than 2/3 of them are a member of one or more of our membership communities. Our communities have been formed organically, and in the tenure that I've been at the Academy, we have formed more than 40 unique member communities. Our model includes forums, which is less than 100 self-identified members, special interest groups, which is between 200 and 600 self-identified members. And we have 3 councils, which represent more than 800 constituents within a really specific segment of membership. Our communities represent practice areas. We have our Hospice Medicine Council, diverse identity groups like our Black professionals, patients, and caregivers in hospice and palliative care, and cutting edge practice innovations, the safe use of psychedelic therapies, and self-care in the healthcare field. I think communities have significantly enhanced the value proposition of the Academy. It has allowed us to provide our members with a much more tailored experience. I think they find enrichment in the engagement, and I think they continue to want to be a part of other Academy initiatives because they're sort of with their smaller group in our big neighborhood. So I think it really has driven both our membership growth, our retention, and that net promoter engagement to make sure that people are really finding benefit in their membership.
That's great. I love the analogy of the finding sort of a neighborhood or a community within the larger organization or city. Judith, tell us a little bit about the communities in your association.
Sure. We have seen a lot of growth in forming communities the past few years and have had around almost 300% increase in the number of communities. And right now they range from wellness, provider wellness topics, to DEI, to areas of specialization within the field, like clinical immunology or hemoglobinopathies for our hematology specialists. And we also have several communities that are for people in particular roles in the field. So it allows them to really develop resources and networks across institutions. And some of those groups include hospitalists, allied partners, and physician scientists as well.
That's great. I was curious, who leads these communities, and do you have staff that work with the communities, or is it all volunteer led?
At our organization, we have staff assigned to be a point of contact and support for the organizations. But leading these communities is really a great member opportunity. We do have elections for chair and vice chair roles and within each of these communities. And it really is an important career and professional development opportunity. We've really come to recognize that. Our members really regard that as a leadership development opportunity.
That's great. How about Emily? How do you manage and govern your communities?
Very similarly, we saw from the very beginning that providing that leadership opportunity within the forums and special interest groups was really a way for us to continue to help provide professional development. We do a 3-person leadership model. It supports a really healthy succession plan for these communities so that there's consistently a way for people to continue to engage. And I think the other thing that we've found over 10 years, we've seen more than a third of our special interest group leaders go on to hold leadership positions on committees and the board. So we clearly are cultivating this amazing pool, teaching them great skills about governance and meeting the demands of our member needs, and then helping them find the next step in their leadership journey.
So I know some associations have these communities, some are large, some are small, some are, as you've said, based in what people do, and some are based on people's lived experiences or professional interests. How do you as an association leverage and utilize the insights and the input of these specialized communities? Is it just a place that people find each other and it like almost like a club, back in the college days, or is it more than that? Are you using it strategically to gain insights and bring thought leadership into the business of your association? Emily, do you want to go first?
Certainly. I can't say enough for the sort of problem solving and innovation, creation of content that happens within our member communities. We see them tackle specific challenges in the field and share best practices. And it allows us to sort of, gather data on what the needs are from those communities so that we can enhance our educational offerings. I think one of the best examples I can give is we've utilized 3 of our communities quite frequently to review annual assembly abstract content for gaps in educational need. And that way we know that subject matter experts are really bringing to the table any content that hasn't bubbled up organically in our call for abstracts.
It's a great idea. Judith, are there things that your group have done to amplify the voices and gather input from communities?
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely consider the SIG communities to be content experts, and we go to them. The board sometimes has questions regarding certain areas of practice. And we definitely do go to the SIG leaders throughout the year. We also invite the SIGs to submit webinar proposals so that we do kind of involve them in the educational and career development knowledge that ASFO puts out to the field.
Fantastic. Great suggestions. Speaking of suggestions, do you have any advice for other associations that are looking to do more with their communities, or things that you've learned that you would want to share, to-dos or maybe not to-dos that, or just words of wisdom, to help encourage and inspire others to see the value in creating or expanding the membership communities?
Sure, I'll share. Our member community, while it's a great tool and it's a platform, it truly is an engagement opportunity for the full membership, because while our name is attached to the community, they really, put out member-driven questions and knowledge sharing, and they really come away with a lot of collaborations and expertise through their own connections and networking. So it really does really help them build their networks and their knowledge bases. You know, we also view it as a way to engage the whole membership. You know, while your board and your committee members may comprise, say, 20% of your highly involved members, this platform and all of the SIG communities really is a way for other members to stay informed and feel connected and participate to any extent that they want to. So it really has a lot of value that way. And while our name is attached to the platform, you know, it kind of balances out a lot of the promotional communications that we send out. You know, they get a lot of member-driven professional interest content.
A lot of people commenting then on things within an online community environment rather than just receiving information one directionally.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Emily, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think whenever I think of our member communities, I think of like the 3 C's, which I think is to cultivate, to communicate, and to change, not be afraid of change. I think we want to continue to cultivate the leaders of those groups on their journey. I think we want to make sure that we are being as inclusive in that cultivation. We've seen amazing inclusivity and welcoming environment and work done by our identity communities that if we had not sort of continued to help those groups along, we may not have seen. I think the communicate piece is to continue to regularly tell them the things that are happening within the organization, kind of let them into that inner circle of information that helps them sort of bring their constituents further along in what they might be willing to volunteer for. And I think it also helps us reward and recognize the groups as we're sharing information. And I think the change piece is critical. We have sunsetted communities, we've merged communities, we have really transparent processes for how those things happen. And I think we have been very clear that we can always adjust, we can always pivot, and we're not afraid to change to make sure that a community feels that they're getting what they need.
Really great insights, and a reminder that communities are organic and they grow, and they sometimes they shrink and they get merged, or they may not be needed at some point. I worked with an association at one point. They had a very large community. It was started in order to keep people inside the organization, to give them a community within, so that their voices were heard and they had a way to connect with each other. At one point, that community felt so integrated into the work of the organization, they decided they didn't need to exist anymore. So I think it's a great reminder that communities are very powerful. They, you know, wherever we are in our society, having smaller groups of people who can come together, who are like-minded or have things they need and want to share is extremely valuable. And it sounds like for both your groups, it's also key to getting insights, information disseminated, and a pipeline for leadership as well. So I appreciate both of you talking a bit about your communities with us. I hope it will inspire other association leaders and staff to put resources and time and energy towards elevating what they're offering their membership as well. Thank you both so much.